Hi, my name is Catherine Gloston, and this is my Module 2 EdTech Plan Analysis. So first, I'll be addressing 4 key points. I'm going to start off with a little bit of information about St. John the Baptist Parish. I'm going to summarize some of the key aspects of the St. John the Baptist Parish Technology Plan. I'm going to compare the St. John Tech Plan to the National Education Tech Plan. And then finally, I'll wrap things up with some recommendations. So, first off, I'd like to talk briefly about why I chose St. John the Baptist Parish Public Schools as my comparison with the National Education Technology Plan. First, I actually attended majority my elementary and high school was in St. John the Baptist Parish. Second, I actually taught at my first year, third grade social studies and science at one of the schools in St. John the Baptist Parish. And so this definitely was one parish that I considered. Outside of that, my current school is a non-public school, and we do not have a technology plan in place. However, after going through this, it definitely has made me very, very excited about developing one for our school. So this is the second best option. So here is just a technology footprint just to give you a little bit of information about St. John Baptist Parish. So on Louisiana Believes, they have a snapshot. And here you'll notice that as of January 2020, St. John Baptist Parish, it had 11 schools. They were about almost 6,000 students there, and they had around about 5,600 devices. So they were really working towards a 1-to-1 ratio, which they state that they did have a 1-to-1 ratio as of January 2020. They talk about their bandwidth and their staffing as well, where their educational technology staff in the district is 2 and their information technology staff is 5. St. John the Baptist Parish, they developed a technology plan in 2017. It was officially adopted September the 21st, 2017, and set to expire in 2020. In the technology plan, they do list in section 1 their contact and demographic information, which gives you the information on the superintendent, the technology plan contact person, the IT technical contact person, as well as if you had any further details about the plan, they list the actual dates as far as expiration of their previous plan and then the coverage of the new plan. Also inside the technology plan, they list the superintendent and the school board members, as well as the technology advisory committee, which I'll talk about how that came about. So now to the planning process of how St. John came up with their technology plan. So it's stated in their technology plan in section 2, they talk about how they began their planning process in January 2017. So the district technology coordinators, they met and they created a timeline for a committee called the Technology Education Advisory Committee. Now, this committee was composed of community stakeholders such as students, educators, government leaders. And their job was to assist with improving 21st century learning. So this committee, they met on February 16th, 2017, and they met to design a roadmap to move the district towards the shared vision, all right, of student success, basically. Then the committee met again on April the 27th, 2017, and at that time they began to focus on specific district needs and priorities. Those included some core areas that they included inside of the technology plan. Those areas included curriculum, instruction, and assessment, learning environment and availability, robust infrastructure and devices, professional learning, data privacy and security, partnerships, and budgets and resources. So next up, I'll talk about some of the key aspects of the St. John Technology Plan. And one of the biggest things that they did note is one of their goals was to provide premium technology and support to aid in the student learning process in order to increase student achievement. So the first area discussed in the technology plan for St. John is curriculum, instruction, and assessment. So in this area, they discussed three goals. They listed three goals: expand student-centered, technology-driven instruction, expand the effective use of quality digital resources, tools, and data to personalize learning, improve college and career-ready instruction, and increase student achievement. And then third, increase adoption of high-quality digital applications, electronic resources, and information throughout the district. So the strategies that stuck out as positive strategies that related to these goals included the use of Yammer and Skype in the classroom to create online professional learning communities composed of students, fellow educators in schools, museums, libraries, and experts in various disciplines around the world. And another thing that stuck out was the use of Microsoft Office OneNote class notebook as a collaborative tool to deliver curriculum and create these interactive lessons, as well as the use of Promethean, flip charts, and class flow. Those are some things that stuck out to me and seem like positive strategies to be able to accomplish these goals. The next area is a learning environment and availability. Now, this area only has one goal, which is to provide all students with continuous access to a personal portable device with wireless internet connection. Now, the strategy for this, in my opinion, the strategy actually does not address the goal. Because remember, the goal stated that it's to provide this continuous access to a personal portable device with wireless internet connection. And so it talks about how the classrooms, they're set up with different levels of internet access. First level is for the district domain. Second one is for staff who bring their own devices. And then third is for students who bring their own devices. And to me, when you're stating that you want your students to have personal portable devices with wireless internet connection, them having access, who's to say they don't have their own phones? In that case, they would not have access to a personal portable device. They may have access to the internet, but not so much as the device. So that strategy to me does not actually seem to truly accomplish the goal that they listed for learning environment and availability. The next area is professional learning. And the goal inside there is to train teachers to transform and adapt their instructional practices to the new mobile digital classroom model. And so, of these 8 strategies that's listed, one of the things that stuck out was to move the swivel robot into schools to video and record teaching and learning for self-reflection and self-assessment. I'll tell you, when I was in one of the public schools in the school year 2018-2019, I did not see a swivel robot, okay? However, even if such was the case, I do think that that would not be financially feasible, nor helpful in training and professional learning. In this case, the robot will be used for self-reflection and self-assessment. And remember, we're doing professional learning, and sometimes it's better to get that feedback from someone in that, an expert in that field versus self-reflection or self-assessment. So me personally, I don't think that the swivel robot is an effective strategy as far as being training teachers to, adapt their instructional practices to the use of mobile digital model. Another thing that I saw is that some of the strategies, they don't relate to the goal. So remember, the goal is geared towards training teachers, but they're talking about holding parent technology literacy nights at all schools to communicate district initiatives and school to home software availability. Um, this discusses parents and different things done on for the parents, and not so much as far as the goal that says they want to train teachers to transform and adapt their instructional practices. Now, I know at some point they may be able to tie this together, but initially, just reading it off the surface without any further elaboration on why they would be doing this and how it relates to teachers, it doesn't fit, the strategy doesn't fit the goal at hand. And then the other thing that I did like is that they did recommend that teachers participate in professional organizations such as LaQ or IST or COSN. So I do think that that recommendation is a valid point. The next area is data privacy and security. And in this one, there's only one goal, which is to implement measures to ensure internet safety and security of students. Now, the one thing that I wanted to point out is that some of these strategies are really are good strategies. However, they are not truly elaborated. Like in the second strategy, they state that, they are in compliance with the Children's Internet Protection Act, and as stated in the revised statute, they are to prevent access to harmful material that can contain like obscene or child pornography. But they're not talking about how they're actually going to do this. And to me, I think that if you're going to be implementing some measures, I want to know exactly, I understand that you're supposed to give your best efforts, but what are your best efforts? Is it some type of host controls? Is it website blocking? What exactly are you doing that is going to, that shows your best efforts to prevent this type of incidents from happening? Then the next one is robust infrastructure and devices. Again, there's only one goal, which is to create and maintain robust, affordable school networks and infrastructures that allow students and educators to maximize the potential of technology for improving academic achievement and preparing students for college and career goals. So in this area, they list 3 strategies, and those strategies discuss ISP, your internet service provider, making sure that you have a good connection, as well as making sure there's stable wired and wireless connectivity, and that your wide area network, it is at least 10 gigabytes per 1,000 students. So these strategies, I believe, are sufficient. There could potentially be more strategies that I would definitely discuss in the recommendations, but as they stand, these strategies do relate to the actual goal. Then there is device access, and so this area has one goal. It says all local school systems will achieve a minimum 5-to-1 student to computer ratio of devices that meet minimum technology specifications by 2017-2018, and will expand upwards to a minimum 3-to-1 or 1-to-1 ratio by 2021-2022. And so they go and they list 6 strategies that they're going to use in order to accomplish this goal, which is basically reducing the ratio of student to computers in schools, refine procedures for purchasing apps, and increase student access to devices, expand the digital footprint, maintain an inventory system, and work with SPED to purchase equipment to make current devices accessible for all students. My thing is that in order for you to be a 1-to-1 ratio, um, yes, your goal is to basically reduce the ratio of student to computers in schools. But how are you actually reducing that student to computer ratio? So you're going to have some type of budget that's going to help you with that. What are the actual strategies that you're going to do in order to get more devices for your students? Because unfortunately, you can't cut back on students, so that means you need to increase your inventory. And so, what are the strategies that you're going to be using to do that? Next is the National Educational Technology Plan comparison with the St. John the Baptist Parish Technology Plan. So, the first thing the Office of Education Technology pointed out was learning goal. And in there, it states that all learners will have engaging and empowering learning experiences in both formal and informal settings that prepare them to be active, creative, knowledgeable, and ethical participants in our global connected society. Unfortunately, St. John's technology plan does not discuss engaging and empowering learning experiences. It does discuss creating online professional learning communities. For example, it stated that it wanted to connect students with experts, whether that's like at museums or libraries. However, it doesn't really say how the students will actually be able to be successful as far as learners. So having some learner goals. Then the next goal is dealing with teaching. So it says educators will be supported by technology that connects them to people, data, content, resources, expertise, and learning experiences that can empower and inspire them to provide more effective teaching for all learners. In this one, the goal was for all the learners. The goals was for the educators to actually come into play. So they do discuss professional development experiences and partnerships with stakeholders to help educators. However, I think some reliance on the International Society of Technology education standards would definitely be great here, as they would realize that those standards for educators are definitely missing, and that not all educators are being supported with assistance as far as developing their technology use and connection with experiences that help the teachers as well as the students. Then there's leadership goals. Unfortunately, St. John does not mention hardly anything that I've read and reread about leadership, or how leaders can even just model use of technology in the classroom to help educators be successful with their implementation of technology in the classroom. So the goal in the NETP is to embed an understanding of technology-enabled education within the roles and responsibilities of educators, education leaders at all levels, and set state, regional, and local visions for technology and learning. Unfortunately, I don't see where there is any implementation of leadership and that connection. Then assessment goals. Here, it does align, because they do want you to administer formative assessments to gather data from your students to help inform instruction. But they also talk about assessment of teachers using TAP rubric to hold teachers' technology use accountable, holding the teachers accountable. And unfortunately, I don't I don't think it's fair to assess teachers and their accountability with the use of technology without them actually having any leaders that actually model how that technology should be implemented. So I think that it is some type of disconnect in that goal, as far as St. John and NETP. Then the final goal is infrastructure. Here it says all students and educators will have access to a robust and comprehensive infrastructure when and where they need it for learning. They do talk about internet access. However, they don't really go into detail as far as devices. They do say that they want to have a one-to-one goal. However, they don't really truly get into all of the nice details on their goals as far as devices. So they don't really elaborate. So recommendations, I highly recommend that St. John actually look at the ISTE standards for educators, students, educational leaders, and even coaches. There are some things that they're lacking as far as leadership, as far as how important it is to have leadership, and how that can actually help the educators build their experiences, which then can piggyback to the students. Also, learning experiences. They talk about the learning experiences and giving out professional development. However, they don't really discuss the types of professional development and whether and what actually would be that big overall goal, because they attended this professional development. And then last but not least, digital citizenship, is definitely not addressed in this plan, and that is something that definitely needs to be addressed. They briefly kind of talk about preventing harmful activity. However, they do not discuss digital citizenship. So I think a big thing would be is if they look at the NETP the National Education Technology Plan, as well as the ISTE standards. And if they use those with the ideas that they have currently, this definitely has the potential to be a very good technology plan with just a further elaboration and use of some of those standards and goals that have been set by the National Education Office of Educational Technology. Here are my references for my presentation. Thank you so much for staying on. I know I went a little bit over time, but I really appreciate it. And I appreciate any and all of your feedback. Thank you and have a great day.